Hello again and welcome to Pick Yourself, the podcast that helps you build a meaningful electronic music career. If your goal is to create and release outstanding music on respected labels, get better bookings and grow a tribe of true fans instead of just social followers, then this show is for you. My name is Philip, thanks for tuning in, and now let's get right into today's episode. Welcome to episode 39 of Pick Yourself. I'm super happy to have you here with me again. Thanks for tuning in. And in case you're a first-time listener, also welcome. I hope you subscribe on your podcast app so you never miss any of the upcoming episodes, because we are close to number 40 and that is going to be a very special episode. But yeah, for this week we are going to talk about websites, and that is a super important topic. I believe that every music producer, every upcoming artist needs a website, and I will walk you through my thoughts and explain why that's the case. But before we jump into the topic itself, let me make sure that you don't miss downloading the 7 strategies of highly successful electronic music artists. That is a free PDF that you can get at pickyourselfpodcast.com/free. And this is something like the resource that goes with this podcast. It's the 7 strategies that have helped my most successful studio clients. I have condensed them in a way so you can consume them in like 5 minutes, but this can dramatically change the outcome of your artist career if you take that seriously. So go to pickyourselfpodcast.com/free, download the free guide, and make sure you implement these things. And in case you want to meet some like-minded music producers, we actually have a group of podcast listeners on Facebook. You can go to pickyourselfpodcast.com/community, and that will forward you to our private Facebook group. There are people just like you. There are people that are way more successful than you. And I'm also in this group. We are there to help each other. We support each other. We have great discussions going on. We share the latest trends and techniques and tools. So make sure you say hello. Go to pickyourselfpodcast.com/community, and we will see you there. Now, let's jump into this week's topic. 5 reasons why you need a website as a music producer or DJ. So first of all, why is this even important to talk about? I have noticed that a lot of upcoming artists think that having an Instagram profile, having a Facebook page, and so on is enough. Yeah, so this is your main page. Maybe it's your SoundCloud. You have this main landing page as your SoundCloud page. Maybe you even bought a domain name like yourartistname.com, and that forwards you to your SoundCloud page, your Instagram profile, whatever it is. And a lot of upcoming artists think that this is the way to do it because, yeah, most of their fans are also on these platforms, so why not use that as some kind of website? Well, it's not that easy. The most important thing here is that there is a difference between owning a channel and renting it. So what does that mean? If you have a SoundCloud page, if you have an Instagram profile, if you have a Facebook page, all these channels are channels that you are renting. You don't own any of these channels. And that means you also don't own the way of contacting your fans, for example. There is no guarantee that you will have the same reach as you had last year. There is no guarantee that you will have the possibility to directly contact your fans in the future. And the question is, what are your true fans worth to you? And I mean like the really important fans, not just the followers that randomly click like here and there or give you a little heart symbol somewhere. How would you react when you suddenly had no connection to most of your true fans anymore? Well, that's exactly what can happen when you don't own a channel. And that's the underlying reason why I believe you need a website as a music producer or DJ. You want to have at least one channel that you truly own. And now you might think that I'm exaggerating the potential danger of Instagram and Facebook and other platforms. But yeah, I have seen platforms like this go down. I have seen MySpace go down. This was a giant. I have seen the organic reach on Facebook being butchered. So just so they could sell more ads. Yeah, so the organic reach on Facebook used to be huge, and now I think like 1 or 2% of your fans are seeing your posts. Yeah, it used to be different. It used to be like 60% or more. And I'm seeing a similar trend happening on Instagram today. And the question is not if this will happen, but when it will happen. This is simply the logical consequence of more and more people having profiles, and at the same time, the company behind Instagram, which is Facebook, wants to sell more and more ads, and wants to serve more ads to people. That means there's just so much space available in your newsfeed. And if more and more people and more ads are fighting for your attention, then that means your organic reach, like how many people you organically reach with your posts, is going to decline and decline and decline. And that's going to be the case with every single social media network that pops up in the future. It's always the same fight for attention. And this fight for attention ultimately will lead to a decrease in organic reach. And yes, platforms can also completely die. Just giving MySpace again as an example. Nobody thought at the time that MySpace would, as a giant, would be able to crash at some point. But there's no guarantee that this is not going to happen to Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever other platform you're on. Another example is SoundCloud. SoundCloud is one of the most important platforms for electronic music, for discovering new music, for presenting your music to the public. Yeah, this company has had some serious problems in the last years. I actually don't know how they're doing right now. It doesn't really matter right now, but there is a potential danger of platforms filing for bankruptcy. So even if you're doing great on some of these platforms, that's fantastic. I applaud you. And you should keep using them. You should keep pushing them. It's a great way to interact with your fans and followers. But ultimately, it's not a channel you own, and you should always have that in the back of your head. And therefore, you need a channel that is your own. So if you don't want to be dependent on the success of these platforms, if you don't want to be dependent on algorithms, if you don't want to be dependent on someone else's design choices or messaging choices or whatever it is, usability choices, then you need your own website. This is your digital home. This is where you make the rules. And every other channel should ultimately lead to your website, which ties all the different aspects of your artist profile together. And this works a little bit like a hub that connects everything. And without owning that hub, your fans don't have a place to go after they've visited your social channels. And more importantly, your true fans, the really important fans that want to engage deeper with you, they don't have a chance to interact with you on that deeper level. They are just some other social follower then. Yeah, maybe you can have direct messages with them and so on, but that's not the same thing. And who knows if that's going to be limited in the future as well. So I'm now going to give you my top 5 reasons why I believe every music producer or DJ needs a website. Number 1, you need a digital space that ties everything together. I know it's hard to keep all your channels up to date all the time, and be honest with yourself, maybe your SoundCloud is the ugly cousin of your beloved Instagram page, or the other way around. Your Instagram page is not really up to date, doesn't have anything interesting in the profile, but your SoundCloud is super, well organized. And I bet that 99.9% of music producers don't have their artist photos, bio text, upcoming shows, latest release, and so on up to date on all their channels. Moreover, it's hard to do because every platform has different possibilities of uploading and managing content. So you need a profile picture in these dimensions on that platform, and then in other dimensions on the other platform, and so on and so forth. And yes, you could do all of that. It takes a lot of time, and it's good if you do that. Don't get me wrong here. But I think it's just way more convenient to have some of this stuff just sitting on your website and have that really up to date. So your social channels should, of course, on the very top level, so on first glance, they should look and feel the same. They should be in line with what you've created as an artist brand. But then on a deeper level, like putting all your shows in on all of these platforms, that's probably not really important. You can have that on your website and just link to the website for people who want to find out where the latest shows are happening and so on. So stuff like that can be tied together on a website. The long form of your artist bio can be on your website. You can have like a short paragraph on all your social channels that is easy to be exchanged, and then link to a longer version on your website. So ultimately, you want to lead people to your website. That is your digital home, and this is also where you can give deeper information. And now the big question is, what makes up a great music producer website? So if you want to set up a kick-ass website, it needs to have a structure that provides value to your fans. And a good artist website should contain the following subsites. First one is obviously a homepage. This is your main landing page and it serves two purposes. First of all, you want to give your visitor a great looking first impression of you as an artist, you as a brand. And secondly, you want to help them easily navigate your page. You can showcase, for example, a video there if you have one, or some of your best photos. And moreover, you give them a short idea of what you and your music are all about. And that means like integrating something like a player. That's important. Then you want to have an about page. And this section contains your artist bio as well as other background stories. And if you've given interviews on blogs or podcasts, you can include snippets of this and link to the articles that were written about you. Then you want to have a music sub-page. And this music page has a player included with a selection of your best tracks or your latest release. And you can also put stuff like DJ mixes or live snippets or whatever you want to put in there to give an impression of what your music is all about. This is stuff you can put there in the music section. But you can also get a little bit more creative here and, for example, share certain SoundCloud or Spotify playlists that you find very inspiring, or maybe some that you have created that showcase other artists in your genre. That could also be a really good idea. So embedding these types of players is a really good idea here. Give people an idea of what you are about musically and why that is maybe a little bit unique or special. Then you want to have a subsection that's called shows. Keep this section up to date. Absolutely important, and link to pages where people can either sign up as a guest or buy tickets. And obviously this won't be possible with gigs in underground techno clubs. So there's no like buy a ticket link. But for festival shows and other types of gigs and so on, you want to help your fans get tickets, and therefore it's good to link out to these websites. Then you want to have a press page. And this links to your electronic press kit, which contains various high-res photos, as well as your artist bio in different lengths and formats. And you can also include links to other articles about you or interviews that you've given. Then you want to have a shop section, if you have something to sell. So if you're selling physical goods like vinyls, CDs, merchandise, you can sell them directly to your fans using your website. And if you don't want to mess with installing shopping cart systems or other complex stuff, then you can just simply link to your Bandcamp store or something similar. So that's also an option. But have that shop button or shop part in your website. That's really important. And then last but not least, you definitely need a contact page. And on this page, give people clear and easy instructions on how to book you, how to submit promo tracks, and how to get in touch for other inquiries. And now if you think about this, you have this homepage, an about page, music page, shows, press, shop, and contact. That is pretty much a full spectrum of possibilities of what you can showcase in the online sphere. And that's amazing. With your own website, you can create a big, full-blown picture of what you are about as an artist. And that is something that no other platform offers you. Okay, reason number 2. You can engage with your true fans on a deeper level and build an email list. So one of the main reasons why you need a website as a music producer or DJ is that it allows you to connect deeply with your true fans. Your true fans are super important. In case you don't know what a true fan is and what is different about a true fan compared to a normal fan or follower, and also what Seth Godin's tribes theory has to do with that, go back and listen to 2 of my previous episodes. Episode 12, which was on how to gain 1,000 true fans. It's a concept by Kevin Kelly. And then episode 13 on finding your tribe, which is based on Seth Godin's tribes theory. Okay, if you've listened to that already, let's go on. Your true fans expect to be treated differently from the rest of your followers. They are willing to give more, but they also expect more. They are super heavily invested in your mission as an artist, and in consequence, they are craving for ways to connect with you on a deeper level than just a comment or a like on social channels. And your website is the perfect place to offer a deeper way of interacting with you. And you can offer them something special in exchange for their email address. And in online marketing terms, this is called a lead magnet. So just as an example, my 7 strategies of highly successful electronic music artists, this free PDF that I'm offering, this is a lead magnet essentially. Yeah, you can download it for free, but you have to leave your email address with me and I will send you a weekly email that introduces the next podcast topic, that informs you about things that I'm planning, that sometimes asks you questions if I need help, if I need you to contribute for example, for new episodes. I'm always eager to hear from you what you are interested in so I can provide the best information possible on this podcast. All of this stuff is just possible because you have entered through this lead magnet. And this is not a shady tactic to gain email addresses and build a huge list of people and so on. This is not what this stuff is about. The only idea is to have some deeper connection to the people that are heavily invested in what you do. So, for example, I don't care if somebody doesn't download the 7 strategies of highly successful electronic music artists. I have no problem with people just reading the blog posts. I have no problem with people just listening to the podcast episodes. But the people who want to have some deeper interaction, they can download this and we get some relationship going. That is fantastic. It's a win-win for both parties. So let's talk a little bit about lead magnets and what makes up a good lead magnet for your true fans. So a lead magnet must provide true value to your audience. And please don't offer silly, meaningless shit to people. Your goal should not be to grow a massive email list, remember? It's not important to have a list full of people who don't really care about you. Instead, you want to offer something awesome to only your true fans and build a small but highly relevant communication channel. That's the most important thing here. And just to be clear, this is going in both directions. So when your true fans send you an email, make sure you respond properly. Yeah, so this is not like a send-only, post-only communication channel. This is a back and forth communication. So let me give you a couple of examples of great lead magnets. The first one is unreleased music, and that's the obvious one. You can let them download alternative versions of your tracks, edits, remixes, or maybe something completely new that is just unreleased and will never appear on official platforms. But please, please make sure that the level of quality is as good as the official releases. Maybe even better sometimes. And by the way, I also don't believe that a DJ mix provides enough value to be a lead magnet, because they might find something similar to this on your SoundCloud page. But if you really want to do this, if you really want to use a DJ mix for this, please make sure that it's, for example, a live set from a really desirable show you've played at a well-known underground club or festival. That is probably good enough or important enough to put it in there. So another good example of lead magnets in your sphere of electronic music is sample packs. I believe that a good portion of your true fans are music producers themselves. And if you are designing your own kick drums, for example, or you have a vast collection of unique field recordings, put together a special sample pack just for your true fans. Something that is not publicly available, something that they only get on your website only by leaving their email address. But here the same rules apply. You want to use samples that sound amazing. They have to be organized. They have to provide value. They have to be super accessible. Maybe you even record a little video in which you explain how you are using them or what's the best way to implement them in your session. So this is stuff that your true fans are craving for. Another great example of a good lead magnet is behind the scenes footage. That can be a studio tour that you give, a video studio tour, or a look behind the scenes of your production workflow, your process. Or if you're working with a lot of artistic concepts, for example, like Kraftwerk, you could give your true fans additional explanations or background stories. So that is something super intimate, something very, very personal, exactly the kind of stuff that your true fans are longing for. So remember, your lead magnet must be desirable for your true fans. Forget about the rest. You don't need to grow a massive email list. That's not important. If your goal is to build a fan base of 1,000 true fans, then you definitely need your own website and you want to build that critical list of people that you can directly engage with. Number 3 on my list here is having your own website as an artist puts you in a different bucket from the rest. And this is an interesting one because I think this is the easiest and quickest win when it comes to professionalism and being interesting to other industry professionals. Because most artists, most DJs, most music producers are simply too lazy or too ignorant to set up their own website. So you can differentiate yourself simply by having one. And if you have a good one that is up to date, one that is well designed, that looks okay, that has good photos in there, that has all the information of you in there, then this is a game changer. You're among the 0.1% who have that in place. And believe me, it's not that difficult. So having your own website makes you appear more professional, more organized, and it can also help you make a great first impression whenever other music industry professionals are looking you up. So imagine a booking agent or label owner is typing your artist name into a search engine like Google. And not only does your Facebook and Instagram page pop up, but also your official artist website. That is a very different feeling. Then let's say they click through the search results. Of course, they will check your social channels as well. They want to know how many likes you have, how many followers, and so on. And by the way, they all know that these numbers can be tricked, and they know that it's not the most important thing, but it still gives you like a broad overview. But then they also look at your website. And even if you don't have a super huge follower count on your social channels, if you have a well put together website with all the information there, then this is a really, really good sign and a really good first impression. And you know what? Sometimes that can help you win a booking over someone who has maybe more followers on his or her social channels, but just seems disorganized, doesn't have a website, and like the overall artist brand is just a little bit splattered across all the channels. And so having your own website as an artist definitely helps you stand out. But of course, now the question arises, how can you design and create a website yourself? And there are some pretty cool website platforms and tools, and I'm just going to walk you through a couple of them so you get an idea and an overview of what might be suitable for you. And contrary to common belief, it's not that complicated or complex to set up your own website as a music producer or DJ. If you have at least a little bit of experience with digital tools, you're going to be able to figure this out, I'm sure. If you can, for example, handle a DAW, which is something you have to do if you're a music producer, then you can definitely set up your own artist website, no problem. You also don't need massive design skills. So if you follow some best practices and just do some basic Google research and look at other people's website and honestly just copy a little bit of the layout options that are already out there, then that's perfectly fine. So here are some tools you can use. The first one is WordPress. And I'm personally a big believer in WordPress as a platform to build your own website with. It is super flexible. It has everything you might ever need thanks to great third-party plugins. And it is very future-proof. I mean, WordPress has existed forever, basically. And there's a huge global community of developers that are constantly nurturing that platform with new updates, with plugins, with extensions and so on. So that is definitely one of the best resources you can use. And now, without going into too much detail, what WordPress is basically a content management system. And that means it sits in the back end of your website, and you have to install a theme that is basically the visual front end of what you as a user then see and experience. And therefore, you can combine this technical backend that is WordPress with several different themes and try out what you like and what works for you and what doesn't. There are many great free themes. There are some paid premium themes. And the thing that I personally like the most is something called Thrive Themes. And they have created a visual site builder for WordPress. So you can basically drag and drop elements. You basically have full control over the design of your website. It is a little bit, I would say hard to learn at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's just amazing. And you have everything you need together with the flexibility of WordPress. So it's a really amazing tool. If you want to use something a little bit more simple, then go for whatever theme you like visually, but bear in mind that you don't have that many options to change the theme. Yeah, I mean, you can switch themes overall. If you're unhappy with one, you can switch to another one, but the design options within a theme are usually a little bit more limited. And by the way, I have links to all the tools that I'm using on my website. So just go to pickyourselfpodcast.com and click through to the blog post that comes with this episode, and you will find all the links and everything in more detail. Now, if WordPress is a little bit too complex for you and you want something easier to start with, then you can use an option like Wix or Squarespace. And these platforms are visual website builders. They are a little bit easier to set up than WordPress, but they're still quite flexible. They have a lot of drag and drop capability. You can customize a lot of things, but not to the full degree of WordPress. And there are also not like the same vast, multitude of plugins available or stuff like that. So WordPress is definitely the deeper thing where you can build bigger and more complex things, but Wix and Squarespace are more intuitive and easier to use. One thing that's important here, whatever you go with in terms of options, just make sure that you buy a domain name and don't end up with something like artistname.wix.com just because it's free. Spend a little bit of money to get a real domain name to be like artistname.com or artistname-music.com or something like that. And then you also have the option of using something like Bandzoogle or Vibecast. So Bandzoogle and Vibecast, they are the easiest to set up. And these two platforms are specializing in helping music producers and DJs set up their own websites. Now, these options are a little bit less customizable, but they can still offer you great return on investment because a lot of the stuff is already done for you. It means it's super easy to set up. It's specialized in exactly the thing that you needed to do as a music producer or DJ. So in the end, it all depends on how much of a control freak you are and how much technical savviness you have. So I'm a lot on the control freak side. I want to have full customizability. And I'm also not shy to dig in forums and nerd the hell out of a topic. So therefore, I go with WordPress every time. But that doesn't mean that this is the right thing for you. You have to figure out for yourself if that's the platform that works for you or not. And this whole discussion on what tools to use to build your website, that leads to point number 4 on my list here. Because that is, you can build a platform that goes beyond your artist career. So having a website as a music producer or DJ can be the starting point of something bigger. So what if you want to, for example, launch your own label? What if you start selling sample packs or you start teaching music production to other producers online? So all of these things can develop out of your artist career. And all of these plans will be much easier to execute if you have already set up a website as an artist. And this can open up additional revenue streams, of course, and make it more realistic to transition, for example, out of your day job into a serious career in music. So even if you now think that you don't need a website as a music producer or DJ, that does not mean you won't need it in the near future for other plans. And you can use that as some subsection on your website. You can transition the whole website that exists already into something new. So all of these options are there. But most importantly, you have already gained the experience in creating a website. And that is the thing that is the most important. Because if you've done it once, then it's easier to do it again. And last but not least, reason number 5 why you need a website as an artist is it allows you to share long-form blog content. And this might not be for everybody, I know, but I believe that sharing your thoughts in long-form blog posts can be a powerful tool for artists. Believe me, your true fans are going to read this stuff, and they will connect with you even more, with you and with your music, because they understand it to a deeper level. They want to dive deeper into who you are and what you are all about. Having a website as a music producer gives you the possibility to create and share content that goes deeper than an Instagram story or a Facebook post or whatever it is. And with sharing content, I don't necessarily mean you have to write 5,000 word long blog posts. So that doesn't have to be the case. But you have some kind of platform where you can publish your own content in what way you want. Yeah, so it can be written content, but it can also be other forms of content, like embedding videos and having descriptions with that, using some kind of artwork that you want to showcase. And now you could say, oh yeah, but I'm also sharing this on my social channels. Yes, but it's better to have both options available and to also, coming back to our point from before, offer something in return for an email. So following this concept of using a lead magnet. And just to give you an idea what you could blog about or vlog about or whatever it is, this is a powerful tool, but it should feel natural to you. So you have to find topics that work for you as a person. Some things that might work for you and for your audience are, for example, talking about the concepts surrounding your latest release, or thoughts on the current state of the electronic music scene. You can even interview some producer friends or your idols, if you can get them in front of a camera or a microphone, or just shoot them an email and they reply back in written form. So all of this is possible. Yeah, it's maybe out of your current scope, but just because you haven't tried it doesn't mean it doesn't work. Or you can do some how-to articles or tutorials that describe your production process. So that is also super relevant to some people in your audience at least. And it can be a powerful tool to gain a little bit of a deeper bonding with your fans. So in conclusion, I hope that I was able to convince you that it's a good idea to have a website as a music producer or DJ. And if you have still questions on that, make sure you bring them to our Facebook community, pickyourselfpodcast.com/community. And let's just discuss it there, because I think there are a lot of people that are happy to help and contribute. If you have any questions, just post them in the group and I will be also happy to answer them. Now, let's see how you can put this into action. So let's put this into action. Having your own website as an artist is super important, and even if you're doing a great job on social media, keep in mind that you never own these platforms and nobody knows what's going to happen with them in the future. Here are my 3 action steps on how to get started with setting up your own website as a music producer or DJ. Step number 1 is set aside 2 days or 1 weekend to work on your music producer website. So you need this uninterrupted chunk of time to plan and execute your website project. That's the thing. It will take some time, definitely. Maybe if you can, try to set aside a little bit of extra time for the preparation, because you need to have in place all the materials like artist bio, photos, logos, and so on, and then move into things like choosing the right provider, and taking care of hosting and so on. So all of these things, technical and non-technical, just take a little bit of time. Action step number 2, choose a website provider that suits your skill level. So if you're a little bit more geeky and enjoy full flexibility, then go for WordPress and Thrive themes. And in case that sounds a bit too complicated, then go for Wix or Squarespace. And if you just want something that suits the standard music producer or DJ website needs, then Bandzoogle or Vibecast will do the job. A short disclaimer, these 2 options make it a bit harder to then later on expand into other areas if you want to expand from your artist website into something bigger. And action step number 3, get a first version done and then move on. So with website building, our perfectionism often gets in our way. We get heavily triggered by that. Try to get into the better done than perfect mindset. So you can and you will optimize your web design and your website again and again. I'm doing the same with my website soon. So it looks great, it works, but I'm just finding better options and new options and so on. So this is just something that happens over and over. And keep in mind that the first steps are the most difficult ones. As soon as your first version is up and running, you can move on and give yourself a pat on the back, because you are among the few people who have a website as an artist, as a music producer, or as a DJ. So that's it for this week's episode, and now I'm super curious to hear from you. What are you thinking about websites? Do you already have one? What's holding you back, and which platform or tool do you think works best for your needs? let me know in the comments at pickyourselfpodcast.com. There's a blog post for this episode, or join the discussion in our Facebook community. That's pickyourselfpodcast.com/community. And if your goal is to create a meaningful artist career, if you want to build something that will give you long-term success, then make sure you check out the 7 strategies of highly successful electronic music artists. That is a free PDF. You can get it at pickyourselfpodcast.com/free. And I will be there for you again next week. Happy producing, happy working on your artist career. See you soon. Bye-bye. If you don't want to miss any of the upcoming episodes, please make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And you can find detailed blog posts for every single episode on pickyourselfpodcast.com. Until then, see you next time.